Hey folks, so in this video I'm going to give you all the likely reasons that you're struggling to get sharp photos. I'm going to cover all the big ones, and anything I miss, my knowledgeable viewers will put them in the description for you to check out later. Don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those very technical vlogs. It's going to be all the basics. First and foremost, most other videos go for this straight away. Yes, it's shutter speed. You're using too slow a shutter speed. Now, ideally, this particular reason needs a whole vlog in itself. So we're going to just do some basics, which will cover most cameras and lenses. If you've got a stationary subject and you've got a short lens, you'll probably only need 1/100th of a second. If you're shooting something very fast, like a fighter jet or Peregrine Falcon going past, you're going to need something like 1/4000th of a second with that telephoto lens. Next up, this one's huge. Pardon the pun, distance between you and your subject. Most of you, I assume, will have noticed if you take a picture of something distant, it's never as sharp as when it's really close. This is because that huge distance between you and your subject can have a whole multitude of factors affecting the sharpness. Heat haze being the top one. When the sun comes out in the middle of a hot summer's day, or in the middle of winter when it's a nice blue sky, you're going to get heat ripples between you and the subject. On top of that, you could have all sorts of other disturbances: rain, dust, pollen, spider's web, ash, smoke, etc., etc. Now, this comment winds me up no end, and it happens quite often when I'm using 800mm. People say, you need to learn to get closer to your subject. Yeah, that's going to happen when I'm sitting in a hide looking at a subject half a mile away on private land. What do you expect me to do? Sing to the bird to bring it over? However, there obviously is some logic in that silly remark. The closer you can get to your subject, the sharper it's going to be. Let's move on to your subject having a busy background. If you're regularly photographing something like a bird on the ground can be quite busy with berries, stones, twigs, leaves, and even the best camera's algorithms are going to struggle to decipher, say, a berry from the bird's eye. You might think you've got a sharp photo when you took it, but when you get it onto the computer later, you notice that the camera had focused on a berry an inch behind the bird. Now, I'm not telling you have to get onto your belly to get that shot, but if you really want it, that's what you're going to have to do. One thing you could do, get the camera down as low as possible, flick the view screen out, and take the pictures from a lower angle. It takes a little bit of work and practice, but you will get some photos. However, years of experience has taught me that birds think they're being stalked when this happens, and 9 out of 10 times whenever I've kneeled down, the birds have taken off. If the sky is anything but blue and you're shooting against a whiteout sky, this will cause all sorts of issues around the edge of the bird, and your camera's autofocus will struggle. Ultimately, you'll end up with softer images. Sometimes you have no choice, you want that photo, but accept you might not get great photos. Let's move on to taking photos from a vehicle. The engines of vehicles cause a lot of vibration. That vibration will move through your body, and the shake will cause blurry images. If you rest your camera on the door or on the roof, you're going to get vibrations unless you turn the engine off. Speaking of shooting from your vehicle, this should be an obvious point. Don't shoot through glass. Also, when you're shooting from a vehicle, you obviously have to turn your body, which causes a lot of strain on your spine and your muscles. And it's happened to me all the time. I twist round and my muscles start to shake as I'm holding the camera. Blurry images. Let's move on to temperature. Warm inside, cold outside. Little tip from, let me get this right, Simon d'Entremont. I think I got that right. Don't actually put the heating on in your car. Actually dress up warmly inside. Obviously that won't fix the heat coming off of the engine, the bodywork, or the exhaust. Now let's look at the opposite side of that. Cool air conditioning inside the car, hot summer's day outside. You open the window, lens out, whoom, fogs up immediately. This is when you're basically just going to have to suffer the heat outside, windows down, air conditioning off. Many of you will have experienced this before on a holiday abroad to a hot climate. You step out of your air-conditioned hotel room, boom, camera fogs up. Very frustrating and can take 15 to 20 minutes to clear. A few solutions would be to put your camera and lens in a sealed Ziploc bag with some silica gel packs. Or if you can, which we've started doing, don't actually have the air conditioning on in the room, have the fan blowing. One little trick I've used before when I've absolutely had to use air conditioning in the room, put the camera in the bathroom and shut the door overnight. Now, I'm not advising this. I was careful, but when I've got out of the hotel room, I've gone to one of the hotel toilets and used the hand dryers, put the camera down at quite a distance and warmed it gently, and that shaved 5-10 minutes off it, heating up to the right temperature. Major disclaimer, do that at your own risk. I am not responsible. Now, are you shooting in RAW? If you're not, that is costing you a lot of leeway when it comes to editing afterwards. You can take photos and miss sharpness by 5, 10, 15%, and they can be saved in post-editing. Here comes the plug, you know it was. Programs like DxO software, which gets rid of all the noise and sharpens your images and can save images that just wouldn't have worked as a JPEG alone. Let's move on to a few other little bits. Lens-related issues. Are you using a cheap lens? If it's £150 as opposed to £5,000, it's a cheap lens. Cheap lens equals softer images. Dirty front or rear element on the lens. Constantly changing lenses can cause dust, dirt and other particles to cling to the glass, or just clumsy handling where you put your fingers on the glass and leave oily residues. A little one if you use lens filters. If you have a low quality lens, that's going to reduce sharpness. Now this is another important one, a little bit technical, but it's to do with the aperture, the f number. Lenses don't work at their best at either end, wide open or stopped all the way down. Wide open, what does that mean? If you've got an f4, you want to be using about f5.6. Wide open causes optical flaws. Very closed down, hole too tiny. Physics, diffraction, softens image. The best apertures are those just above wide open. So if you're using an f4, try using f5.6 up to f8 or f9. And obviously the more expensive the lens, you can push these limits a little more and get away with it. Very high ISO smears details. In-camera noise reduction can be very aggressive. Underexposed images brightened in post-editing can result in loss of clarity and detail. Some other issues to do with editing: if you over-sharpen, you're going to create halos around detail. You might have uploaded photos to social media, looked at them and wondered why they were so bad. Social media does compress images. Now, if you are doing all of these and you're still getting soft, blurry images, there could be something wrong with your lens or camera. Right, that's most of the important things. If I've missed anything, which I probably have, put them in the comments for everyone else to see how clever you are. I put a couple of DxO videos at the end for you to click on and check out how you can sharpen your images up. And remember, my code at checkout is StormCab for 15% off all of their software. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll speak to you next time.